as I've been kind of introduced, I'm Michelle Brooke. I work with Open Innovations, which is a not-for-profit organisation which focuses on trying to improve how much data organisations are publishing. So, that's the open in the kind of name. But it's not just about throwing lots of data out there, it's about ensuring that we've got good quality data out there. And so what we've been doing has been working with Bryony Thomas on the Mapping Cultural Engagement with Schools project. And with Bryony sadly unable to kind of attend today, I'm stepping in. So what I'll say is that there may be some questions that emerge that I can't answer, but I'll kind of capture them, pass them on to Bryony, and we'll see what we can do to provide a response for them. So in terms of the team for this project, we've kind of brought in a whole host of people from different organisations. So we've got myself and a colleague from Open Innovations providing some of the data support, but then we've also kind of brought in Leeds City Culture, Leeds City Council even Leeds 23, as well as kind of colleagues from the University of Leeds. The overall kind of goal of what we're trying to do is to create a prototype open data resource that maps cultural engagement across schools. And this kind of, we're hoping, allows a couple of things. One, to kind of correlate this with other open data sets, but secondly, also to kind of provide a resource that allows schools and cultural partners to really understand where there are organisations that they could reach out to. Now, with any project, always really important to start with the kind of why. And the purpose of the project really came from some of the literature review before the project started. And that's this idea, as I'm sure many people in this kind of room are aware, that kind of early stage cultural education is really, really important in terms of kind of developing well-rounded individuals. And so if we're looking to kind of build healthy, wealthy, integrated communities, it's really important to start understanding where there are areas which, the cultural education might not be kind of, meeting, might not be equal, there might be kind of areas of deprivation. And so we're really starting to try and explore that and understand what's going on within Leeds. So we've been kind of really busy, I think. We've started off with a kind of data audit in Leeds City Council, looking at what sort of data they hold that they could potentially make open or shareable or start to kind of visualise. We then had a sector consultation bringing together schools and cultural partners from across the city, trying to understand what sort of needs they have, what sort of data they might have that they can make openly available, but also really interestingly, what sort of data they're really looking for to understand what they could do when they're kind of looking to build relationships. We then kind of used that sector consultation to start designing a survey, which we shared with schools across the city. I'll talk a little bit about that. And then finally, what we're working on at the moment, especially at Open Innovations, is building a website where we're starting to visualise a lot of this data, where we're hopefully going, where we're then going to kind of, hopefully start kind of mapping out exactly what's going on within the city. And, as Open Innovations being what we are, being kind of a partner of the University of Leeds, we're then going to be looking after that site for the next kind of year and a bit, and we'll hopefully keep finding new data sets beyond the kind of lifespan of this project to look really at what we're able to kind of make available. So in terms of kind of some of the key findings, it's really interesting that kind of, Leeds City Council doing a bit of a deep dive, found a host of data that they could potentially make openly available. So that's kind of data from kind of libraries, from museums and galleries, picking up things like schools that they're working with, the numbers of students who are coming into kind of workshops and events. There's data from art forms and from the Music Education Partnership. What I think is really interesting there is the fact that, it's clear that there's cultural kind of challenges there perhaps. Leeds City Council, again, partner of Open Innovations, but there's always kind of more that we can be doing to kind of work with these organisations, encourage them to kind of publish some of this kind of data. There's kind of, sites out there like Data Mill North and others, and, really encourage them to kind of put some of this kind of information out in the kind of public domain for organisations to kind of pick up, use and kind of explore. With the sector consultation, bringing together, as I said, those cultural partners in schools, again, we started kind of surfacing some of the kind of different types of data that they might be able to share. So that was, again, kind of data about, when we heard from kind of cultural partners, data about kind of numbers of people coming along to kind of the galleries and museums, but also from schools. We heard that they had the ability to name the different kind of organisations and cultural partners that they were working with. We had the ability for them to kind of share information about who it is, kind of like how many people were going on kind of trips, and how many, like what age kind of pupils and things like that. So we kind of took, again, the kind of outcomes from that consultation, and we kind of used that to design the survey that we then started pulling together. So with the survey, we kind of, did a very collaborative effort from all of the partners within this project. We shared it with all of the schools across Leeds, and then started kind of visualise it. Now, the site itself, I found out on the way here, the dev team at Open Innovations are busy trying to kind of apply the kind of like final design to it. So I'm not going to share it in this conversation, but I will just quickly summarise the fact that we had a response rate of, I think it was about 10% of schools across Leeds, which, very small sample size, totally recognised, but this is a prototype, this is a pilot. What we're trying to do is put something out there, show schools and cultural partners the value of kind of capturing some of this data, showing data, and hopefully through that starting to build that resource that's naming the organisations that schools could go and find, could go and engage with, and kind of, during a phase 2 project, redesign kind of the survey, redesign the ask, and indeed, really crucially, make sure we're not sending out a survey in the middle of a whole bunch of teacher strikes, which probably had a bit of an impact in terms of the response rate. So super happy to kind of answer questions now, or to kind of pick questions up after the session today.